and I was told by event security to put the flag down, so I put it on the chair, and a bunch of people like, if you put it on the floor, you have to burn it after. I'm like these
Oh my
Americans.
god.
I put it down and I start acting like I'm waving the flag in my hand still. It doesn't have the flag, and then people are laughing. It's like 5,000 people, and that was amazing for me. I thought, it got some Toronto Batman followers. The weirdest thing where people were talking about Toronto Batman, where it was there because I saw the flag. I'm like, I'm him. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you're not. I'm like,
Yeah.
and I lost a lot of weight and all that. So to take some talk about, did some convincing, but that, yeah, I think a lot of Brett for showing me like how to be a heel.
Welcome back, everyone, to episode number 29 of The Johnny Rogers Show. My guest today is a Toronto-based stand-up comedian, actor, and director. However, in a past life, he went by Toronto Batman. But, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for my friend and yours, Alex Brovedani.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Happy to be here.
Thanks for coming on the show, man. Making some time
No
before
problem. Yeah.
you put in the grind. You preparing for a little
Yeah,
show?
sadly. Yeah, I got to showcase tomorrow at Yuck Yucks, and then I didn't know I was on it until like today. So it was
Oh, well, that's usually how it goes in
yeah,
entertainment, right?
yeah. I mean, yeah, it was one of those things. All the power to them and all that. I know they're busy, so happy to be a part of it. And so I gotta fine tune some things, or at least get into the rhythm of things. Because yesterday I was in a bat suit doing a roast, and then doing stand up in a basement. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
post pandemic stand up is a little bit different today. Eh?
yeah, it certainly is. I mean, there's an influx of these interesting shows, and then,
What's been your
but
favorite,
like,
like, kind of weird one that you've had to do?
um, I mean, like, it did in people's living room. Not
Living room
long
shows?
ago, um, yeah, a lot long ago was a guy. He had a house in the basement, and there was like mattresses in the entranceway, and then there was like little lights, like LED lights around like a guitar. I think there was a sword, and then the people went there. I think they were
There
like
was a
kind of like a
sword.
rave crowd. So yeah, he had a sword. So he had that, and then so we did. Yeah, it was pretty much, and they were kind of smoking inside, vaping, and they look like a
Naturally.
fight. I look like a fight would break out any second, and I was like, but I did it, and so I'm doing another basement show on Saturday, and then I'm gonna get
This is
paid
a
for
hot thing
that.
now,
But
basement shows?
yeah, I guess it's just, I mean,
Welcome to
some
Canadian
happened
entertainment,
during the
everyone.
lock. Well, Canadian lockdown entertainment.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I did Zoom. I did Zoom. And I got two good paying Zoom shows, and that was great. I did one on COVID when I had COVID. That was weird. I had my notes and a puffer and some cough candies and water with me.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, I did it, but like, wasn't. I asked to reschedule by half an hour, and that was the longest it could go. I think it was over COVID, but I was still coughing and I had a lot of brain fog. So I did
Yeah.
what I could, and I think they understood. But like,
How
and I
long ago was
hated
this?
reading notes. It was like beginning of January, and
Oof.
I had COVID Christmas Eve, and then it went on till like January something, and just had the long term effects that stuck around for like an extra week.
Wow.
So yeah, it wasn't. Was fun. Before that, I was actually hit by a car, and then I got a cough like the next day, and that
Dude,
was
do you
just
think the car gave you
bronchitis.
COVID?
Maybe his name was Alex, and he took me there. Actually, just
Motherfucker.
texted him because I like him to help pay for getting
Brutal.
my tire repaired. But
If the
yeah,
guy that hit you with a
it's
car then drove you to the ambulance gave you COVID, that would be, or drove you to the ambulance, drove you to the hospital,
sick.
gave
But
you.
he took me to the rec saw. It was a weird thing. It was actually at a show at Nothing Fancy, and it was
But he
right
hit you
around
and then
there.
took you to a Rexall?
Took me to rec saw.
What the fuck?
It was the weirdest fucking thing, and I still have a small bruise on my finger. Sorry, it is my middle finger.
It was flipping off the curb.
So yeah. No, but like literally, and what was worse was I was doing manual transmission training for a truck, so on a simulator, so it hurt my finger a lot. Um, to do. And then so anyways, it felt like bronchitis because no doctor would see me because I had the
Uh,
symptoms of COVID, but I did the test and they kept coming back negative. But I think my previous trip to Ottawa, something someone gave it to me or something. I was doing, the stand-up scene was happening, so I was like, out and about and not thinking, hey, this really transmissible virus is going to get me. Like,
yeah, you
but it
start
did.
to like forget about it a little bit when you're out and moving and doing
Oh,
things.
it's just like, yeah, cool was over. And then I think there was a bartender, Nothing Fancy. His name was Will, and he looks like me. He's like, oh, there's 2 cases of Omicron. My girlfriend just texted me. And I'm like, I'm like, two? That's nothing. And then I got me.
He's like, one,
So,
two.
one,
You're like,
two,
I
like
was
too
the
many.
third.
The funniest was Christmas Eve. I'm at the Royale Comedy Theater. It's a interesting name. And I was talking to the owner, and I just started machine gun coughing right in front of his face, like a tournament. And then it just, yeah. And it was after I did my set, so I was texting a lady, and she's like, "Just give that two sweet symbol like in wrestling and leave." And then that's what I did. And then I went home, and then didn't look good. And then so Christmas Day was spent here, and then yeah. But I mean, it's life. I mean, at least I went down probably the way
Hey,
I
you're
should
here.
have.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am here. I'm here, and I'm queer. No, I'm
Um,
here, and
you heard it here
I'm
first, ladies and
here.
gentlemen.
I'm here, and
That's
I'm
the
here.
clip.
I mean, I'm having fun though. It was a great, like, way to go down, and kind of shit to celebrate Christmas in bed and whatever. I didn't know what's
I
happening.
mean,
I
the
didn't know.
people who don't like seeing family over Christmas probably loved getting COVID. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, I got to quarantine for 2 weeks. It's not
Yeah,
happening.
I
I'll have to
I
see you
was
mid-January.
more like I think some of my family's pissed at me because I posted a picture of my niece, and they're like, "There's bad people on Facebook. You shouldn't be doing that." And I'm like, "Ah, I got to face them busy. I haven't seen them since." But so I spared them. And then I wondered, how much do I love them? And like, maybe if I go them and give them a gift of COVID, we'll see.
They'll
But I
appreciate
was yeah. It was interesting though. My parents did come to visit. They were like down on the street, and they left like some Christmas food, and they had their masks. And then a couple other people did that, and I felt like um, I was I was like a monster or something. And like, it's still me. And it's like, yes, but you have something we don't like. And then so it was interesting. But I got over it. I finished the training, and then back in the scene, and then yeah. So
Now
it
back
was,
out showcasing.
yeah, back on showcase. I have some skits I shot on my iPhone. I wanted to edit. I haven't had the time, but it's looking more and more now that I had to start my Instagram from scratch.
Yeah, what happened there?
I was
Did you do
it
one of
was
those
near
like click scams
4,000.
where they're like, "We'll send you 10 Ethereum for this NFT. Just
No,
click
it
this
was
link."
it was a it was a comic. One new and as like Alex, I needed two-way in this guy like a link, and then I got a text message, and then I'm like, how the fuck did I get a text? So I just sent the link to him, and then in the morning, oh yeah, you're hacked, you're hacked, you're hacked, you're hacked. It was just like so it was 2 in the morning when I got it. I feel stupid, but I'm a nice guy. It sounded like him.
Oh my
Those
god.
hacks are getting so my hacker, which changed the email twice, they were doing the Bitcoin thing. They did the look at what my Bitcoin did, my new car, which some people believed, which was crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
But they also made a post, and I forgot what it was. I saved it. There's something like I would do, and a lot of people was like, "Is that you now?" So the hackers are getting
That's
smarter.
crazy.
It was nuts. I'm not the only one's been hacked. I
Oh, no,
didn't
I've seen a
like
few people lose their account or have like a duplicate account start popping up for some reason.
the worst was to take it down. Instagram does not like. I was sent this. It should send you an email saying if you didn't send this. If they didn't send that, they said if it's not your email, follow this. And it's basically, down the line. I don't think I set up my phone with it. It was set up with my like page, Toronto Batman. So I thought, okay, but that didn't do squat. I could just comment on top of that,
Mm.
and that was it was off. And then yeah, so I reported as a fraud. And now there's
Uh,
that. So
who's the
I
go follow? Mr.
reported
Alex
my
Provo.
Mr. Alex Bro. I reported the original one as a fraud, and then they said that it's not. And I was like, what the? And then I finally did it enough in 86. Because
86.
I was getting messages left and right. I was not sleeping well at all. Like I don't like some of the were Toronto Batman followers. I screen capped all the photos I liked and care for. And that was cool. Like back in San Diego Comic Con days and all that, and the Toronto Batman days, some of the
Yeah, because
stuff,
there's
and some
memories on
stuff I
there
forgot.
too, right? It's not
It's
just like the
memories on there
followers.
too. I still I have to go on my Facebook, Toronto Batman, and ask about like to follow me a new one, but I haven't. I want to do these skits that I shot. It kind of motivated me, but at the same time, I felt like in the comic, I thought about punching. I'm like, how did the hack do? I don't know which was more annoying. He's got some funny jokes. I'm not gonna lie. And
It would
a
be funny
clip I
though if
put
he
up
was a
recently.
hack.
I Well, like I was just confused as fuck. But sorry for my language. But like,
Huh.
am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll try not
It's
to
my
too much. But
personal
like,
YouTube page, so I'm just like, yeah, go off.
it was crazy. But yeah, it motivated me, and I shot these 3 or 4 skits, and I'm gonna edit them for. I've done some stuff on TikTok, and one did okay recently, and
Yeah,
build from
TikTok's been
there. So
great.
TikTok's it's all great. I just Um, for a while, I was a little bit jaded from social media. I, considering, I mean, going back 10 years, the Toronto Batman took off, and it didn't end like I liked it to, and all that. And I felt it was a weird thing. I wish I had a better support team. I wish it was a little bit more mature too. But like it goes back and forth. So now I'm kind of slowly get back into it. And Graham Barrett with the audio opera helped kind of revive me a bit. And I thought that was cool. I actually, that was my favorite Toronto band video. I liked what we did. It did feel like Kenny versus Spenny,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But he also treated me professionally, and I didn't walk away with a concussion or anything. So that was a big thing. I'll talk about that. But so yeah, so I have to kind of build from that. It's also funny. I'm getting messages like, "Is this the real you?" I'm just like, "Man, yeah, I guess it is." I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah. Well,
So
because so many
it's
comedians had their accounts taken that they had to create new accounts. Like I saw several people this happened to. Even
yeah,
I was like, when sending the Zoom link, I went to Facebook and sent it because, or like reconnected communication because I was like, this might be another scam account that's messaging me through Brovo. Because I'm like, what happened here? Like, what, you know?
I didn't sleep well for like a week. So I woke up that Sunday at 5 a.m. to a slew of messages, and they kept on coming, and
Jeez.
they kept on coming, and they're like, and I was like, okay. I made a joke out of it. I said it's in 3 camps. There's people telling I'm hacked. There's people telling me what the hacker is saying. And then there's people that don't believe it's me because they think I'm too stupid to trade Bitcoin.
Oh my
So, it's just like
god.
I'm more of a Chuck E. Cheese kind of guy. And
Yeah,
that
you're like,
worked. That's been working. So I'll take it from that. And I tried to be positive. I even forgot what day and month it was when it happened. And I messaged some people from my past. I probably shouldn't have. Nothing bad, but yeah, I look back at those sent messages and they're like, I don't know, my brain went in a fog. I think just so much happened in so little time. Getting hit by a car, COVID, and then what was it? Then that, but on top of that, trying to regain my footing. Learning manual
Rebuild that,
transmission
yeah.
for a truck was tough as hell. I was going back and forth to Hamilton to try to do it, and then on a damn simulator. So, but it's it motivated me, and I shot a couple skits I felt were funny, and I shared some clips of it already
Yeah,
on
where can people
Instagram
watch
stories.
those? Instagram
So, Mr.
stories?
Alex Brovo, and then I'm going to change my YouTube channel. Alex Brovo was You Better in the Dark. I didn't do anything with that name. I just changed it from Toronto Batman,
Yeah.
and then TikTok Alex Brovo. So, and then Facebook Toronto Batman. I'm going to read some nursery rhymes as Toronto Batman, and I think that will be easier to film than the parodies we used to do. And then Graham and I said like he'd like to use me again. We just got to see when.
Yeah.
So all that, but the last little bit, I've literally been trying getting my sleep back to normal from COVID was impossible. I think it's kind of there. I've taken about four melatonin a night to go to sleep.
Damn.
Uh, yeah, or Seroquel. That's the first time I dropped that. But
What was it just like the coughing that was like keeping you up all night? That's the reason why like your sleep pattern got fucked up?
it was more like just taking anything to knock out. If my COVID, I'm not sure if it was Omicron, it could have been Delta, but it felt like pneumonia. No, it
Mm.
definitely was because
Pneumonia
I,
is just
I I
brutal.
tried working out again and I threw up and like shit like that, and I could barely just do anything. And thinking was like this and not
Just the
a poor mean is
cloudiness,
way
right?
kindness, everything. I was walking at 3 or 4 in the morning because I will go outside and take a walk because A, hardly anybody be out there, and B, if they think I'm like drunk or stone walking around, which I wasn't, that just was me, they wouldn't be like, oh, it's a 3 or 4 in the morning guy. That's it.
Yeah.
Just passing by and all that. But like, yeah, it was hard to come back from. Sometimes I look at my bat suit and said, "It's like give me the energy," like shit like that. So like I'm trying to make the most out of
Just
it.
like just picture you put on the suit hoping it's gonna give you energy and then you end up just eating
Oh,
soup in the suit.
uh, I just couldn't like.
Had a temperature
I
gauge in your
tried,
mouth.
yeah, I tried working out like I did, and I just remember throwing up like and calling my doctor and telling him about it after. It's like, yeah, that was very stupid of you. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what would Batman do? The best part about it was because my sleep was all over the place. I woke up at 3 in the morning and I watched New Japan Pro Wrestling live. So that was
Oh,
really cool.
nice.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, on my tab, the phone.
I love that there is like so many brands of wrestling that are going right now. Like the fact that AEW is just like a ongoing brand. Even fucking even TNA Impact is back and doing things if you want to watch
Impact,
wrestling.
yeah.
There's so
You
much
got you got
available.
you got Bullet Club, but on 3 out of the 4. Yeah, it's great. It's great for them. Like it's and also there's a decent amount of commentators. So I'm a Jim Cornette fan.
Yeah.
Uh, some people don't like that. That doesn't mean I agree with everything he says. I don't. I
Oh,
think
he's,
it would
he's a great
be
wrestling figure.
he's done a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of people back from like the Andy Kaufman days. He got when Andy Kaufman got structured out from that Jerry Lawler match. He was taking the pictures, and there's someone that took a picture of him taking the picture. Like he goes way back, and I think
He's
even
in it
further than
deep.
that. But just that alone. So obviously people goes, well, he's a boomer, and he has it. Like, yeah, of course, that happens to the best of us.
That
But
was
there's
like in
stuff,
the Dark Side of the Ring documentary. Did you watch any of that?
yeah, of
They,
course.
they kind of like harped on him a
Was
little bit for being like having that like older mentality of thinking where he wanted every new wrestler to like come out of a box. They were like they were trying to say he was like all stuck in the old way of thinking. I don't know if you
yes
saw.
and no. So actually, I was in talks with the Dark Side of the Ring to be a part of the recreation. There was we've talked either to recreate Lance Storm or the Detective. So
I could see
Lance
that.
Storm is
Yeah,
my
yeah.
hero. Like I used to have even a buzz cut. I used to hit the first workout technique I ever used was like officially was Lance Storms when he had it as a website. So I used to think it was a marvelous athlete with a fantastic physique. And he could do all these crazy stuff and be safe and be professional. All that. So it's funny, like last summer, I started buying a bunch of stuff. So I got a autograph 8x10 of Lance, thanks to his wife, who emailed me back and like, yeah, we still have some of that.
No way.
Wicked. And then a detective thing. I think it was either Brian Pillman's or I forgot. Bruiser Bedlam. I think that was amazing. Yeah, and that was the one
Brian
Lance
Pillman's
Storm was
one that
featuring.
people forget about a lot. Flying Brian was
Yep,
crazy. Like he pioneered
Brian.
like a lot of those like from the top of the corner moves. Like
For sure. I mean, most of us caught Brian Pillman towards the end of his career, and especially when you talk about like Canadian wrestlers, you think that he was a part of the Hart Foundation. So yeah, definitely. But like he was quite the innovator. He was like the original, I think, jackass of. I mean, from the show for wrestling, and then
yeah, like just
um,
willing to put his
and doing
body
the
on the line for entertainment.
for sure. But like obviously, he was also putting his body behind the line, like on the line behind it too.
Yeah,
So all and you can see a little bit in the sun. Thankfully not too much because I like to see him around.
yeah,
But like also the other thing is like when I was growing, I was like 15 in the Heart Foundation days, and like that whole family, that's so sad. But like I just remember he died and no one said what. He just woke up and he was dead, and then
yeah.
I didn't know that they were doing painkillers and steroids. I didn't really know what steroids were. So,
Yeah, it's hard
and
to hear those things, especially as a kid, and you're looking at them as these like giants, these heroes, these idols, and then you find out that they woke up or they like died in their hotel room or something from like an overdose. You're like, what the fuck?
yeah, I mean, but I
Kind of
think
breaks that fourth
what
wall a bit.
one thing, and I was still kind of youngish, was I was never surprised by the British Bulldog's death because I
Mm.
still remember, he was on this, on that, and he was like, like he was trying to so hard to make a comeback to wrestling, and God bless him. And I made his daughter laugh on Instagram, and I'll cherish that with me. I find that another one was Chris Benoit's son, Daniel Benoit. Liked a comment of mine, so that was cool. I
What was the
almost got an
comment?
autograph from his dad. It was just something like, yeah, that was fantastic wrestling because he shows a lot of clips of clips of his dad wrestling Kurt Angle and stuff. And
Oh yeah, his dad was one of the best.
I have a Benoit joke that I made when shit went down within a week. I don't know why, but
That's how you
like
deal with it.
I
It's how
think
comedians deal with trauma, right?
and for me because I had a lot of concussions, so that hit because I was like, what am I destined for? There's a cosplayer in LA. His name is Bernie Bregman, and throws these great parties. Nerds like us, and he's planning a Ric Flair cosplay. And I said, I think I could do another Horseman. And he goes, which one? I'm like, which one do you think I look like? And I put a picture of me putting my hair back. He's like, no. And then because like, why not? Was Canadian, and I think we just joked about that too. I think I'll do Sting if I ever did it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought about it. I mean, there was a cosplay group of dead wrestlers, and one was Owen, one was King Kong Bundy. I forgot who the other one were, but definitely a
The
Benoit.
Owen one is
And I was just like,
it's a rough one.
oh, Owens. I met Owen. I got to shake his hand, and I wrote a poem on that, and uh, that one still disturbs me on a great level because I remember that day I got drunk with my friends. We snuck in, I didn't sneak in, but we saw the Phantom Menace passed out, and we got kicked out of a bar trying to watch the pay per view because we snuck in rum. And kind of glad. I mean, they didn't really show anything. I'm gonna look back. I'm
They
like,
probably cut away
fuck,
pretty
was I?
quick.
And you think about how great Benoit, I know, sorry, Owen was, and like that's a very sad, dark side of the ring, but it's still like doesn't even feel real.
Mm.
But Owen was, and you read everything about him, was as fantastic as it comes. And Jim Cornette, everybody hates, has nothing but praise for him, and he was his favorite Canadian Hart and all that. So That's big reason why I'm a Jim Cornette fan, because he actually probably helped the both of them and helped probably extend the life of David Boy Smith, the British Bulldog. So, because he says when he went to WCW, like they just didn't give a shit, and he just exasperated
A
everything. In
lot of
fact, they hurt
talent
him
was
more.
wasted
So,
there.
yeah, no. I mean, the
Well,
fact of the
they
matter
had
is,
Bret Hart
since
go there and they just kind of wasted him, and they used him as like a funny tool, like a humor device instead of
there
like a
was
world
good
champion.
points, man. He said something about Lepart, like he did some all right stuff. Like I go back and forth, and Brett says that he hates it in those short interviews, but then he also thinks that what he did with Goldberg, with that Shields thing, the matches he had with Benoit, Booker T, and all that, and he's still like, and him getting on Mad TV. Like I watched Mad TV religiously back then, so that was cool. And that, so it's like I go back and forth, and Crates also was still a part. You still talk about the screw job, so it's like a huge big story
That is true.
for that. And I have Bret Hart's autograph in this agenda book because when I ran into my comedy bar, I didn't know you, and I was the first fucking loser to. I'm like, can I have a picture? And then everybody lined up because he was just chilling there. He did Sunday Night Live, I think, and then the first thing that came out of my mouth was talking about concussions, and then for some odd reason, he was like, "Okay," and then talking about Harry Smith, the British Bulldog's son, doing MMA. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that." And posted this picture, and then I admitted I was dressed up as Robin, and I ran to this
You were
Comic
dressed up
Con
as Robin
line.
as you met Bret Hart.
No, but before, like months before, I ran and they cut off the line right in front of me to meet Bret Hart at San Diego Comic Con. So I'm like, wow, now I actually get to meet you. He's like, why were you dressed as Robin? I'm like, well, I'll never know.
I'll never
And
know.
I'll never know. But we
You're
still
like,
have
I
a good
wanted to be
picture.
Batman, but
We have a picture of wearing a fedora and a Superman T-shirt, and he's got, I think, an LA fucking Raiders shirt on. So it's like the weirdest combo at all time. Meeting him was amazing. So, and then a couple months later, I would go viral. And I always attribute that to a little of my success that year, meeting Brett. Or it was a good sign, I
it's just
call
like
it.
showing momentum almost. Like you were getting out there. You were
Yeah.
like literally running into people that you like
Yeah, I think,
idolize. You know,
oh, 100%.
kind of
There's
shows that there's action happening. Like you're doing something.
well, definitely. And there were some pictures and some videos in San Diego, especially San Diego Comic Con. And during the con Atlanta, that I brought the Canadian flag, and part of that was inspired by him. And it would act like him and Jericho, and act like this big heel, and say I'm better than you, I'm Canadian, and do all that. And I'm there, and then I think I was dressed as Superman, and I went to, no word of a lie, the careless the Canadian flag. I went to this burlesque show, and it's filled to the brim of people. It was busy way a while, but I went in there and I got booed tremendously for some odd reason or another. And I could not believe, but I was reveling it up. I'm like, doing this, and like, what do you people know? And then security or event staff,
Saying
they're
what do
like,
you people know to a crowd booing
what
you?
do you people? And I'm like, yeah, and I'm just waving it, and it's just like in heart of Atlanta. And I was told by event security to put the flag down, so I put it on the chair. And a bunch of people like, if you put it on the floor, you have to burn it after. I'm like, these
Oh my
Americans.
god.
And I put it down, and I start acting like I'm waving the flag in my hand still. It doesn't have. Then people are laughing. It's like 5,000 people, and that was amazing for me. I thought, it got some Toronto Batman followers. The weirdest thing where people were talking about Toronto Batman, where it was there because I saw the flag. I'm like, I'm him. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you're not. I'm like,
Yeah.
and I lost a lot of weight and all that. So to take some talk about, did some convincing, but that, yeah, I think a lot of Brett for showing me like how to be a heel and all that, the little ways that I could. Some people didn't understand it, and I was
Some
okay
people
with
shy
that. But
away from
I
that situation though. Like that's what I love about you is you did that thing that somebody would not do in that situation,
yeah,
right?
but I
And
remember
look at the
'97.
payoff.
and all that, and it was great. But like 5,000 people or 5 to 10, it was weird ass. I left the burlesque show because they thought it was too much. They did a burlesque is interesting. They do skits, and one skit was a Frankenstein choking a girl, and I'm like, I don't know, it was like
The fuck?
12 o'clock at night. I'm just like, yeah, I think I want to leave. What the fuck is this? And then you boo me.
Hey, to each
What do you
their
people
own.
know? And then
Yeah.
yeah.
You start yelling, "You
And
people don't know real art."
you people, it was
Uh,
I could not. Yeah, there was one of the greatest moments, and I think Brett and Chris Jericho and all those guys, in some ways, and I
kind of
got
like
to meet a
harnessed
fair
their
amount of.
energy and then gave it in that moment.
Yeah, I like when Sean and Brad, the Toronto Spider and all that. I was talking. I gotta be this heel guy, and I think Toronto Batman. And I wrote out on a whiteboard, and like he's kind of full of himself and all that, and he's got that. It, Still, sometimes I got cheers and all that. I just wanted to mix with Tony Clifton from
Yeah.
Andy
Okay.
Kaufman, and so I was inspired by all of them, and I got to talk to people that knew Andy when he was alive. So that's been cool. So I try to mix it both, and I ran the ball as far as I could. The problem is that I probably could have been a little bit more mature about it, less impulsive, but
Yeah. Hindsight
there
is
there
always
was a lot
2020,
of fun.
right?
Of course. And the thing is, there's no book to say, what if you go viral the next day?
Yeah.
And how do you
Yeah.
react? And what do you do? And
Yeah. What do
like,
you do to keep it? And like, yeah, yeah. There's no
what do you do to not
clear
go insane?
outline. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it's,
Because there's
I
that
was
side that people
literally,
forget about.
well, some people deal with it better. I'm not saying
Dude,
I
I
dealt
just
with the
don't look it.
worst. I slept an hour a night that first week. The media was all talking to me, I was doing all these events. And then I remember I told a news station, like, I'm not sleeping or eating, and like I'm not doing anything. And they're like, "Do you want some water?" I'm like, "I think I need more." And then,
I think I need more
but
than water, lady.
I at the same time, I'm happy for those that do get success like that, like Jared Nathan getting a shout out from
That's
Joe
awesome.
Rogan.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I was almost in tears for that guy because I was like, it made anything possible, and I was nothing more than happy and over the moon uh, because he went to Austin on a dream and literally achieved it, and
Literally
it
got it.
was just,
Yeah.
and I went back and I told the Royale, like, you headline him here a couple times, don't you? And I was telling others, like, book the fucking guy. It's just, I mean, he's on fire and still is. And even David Andrew Brent, he went viral that night, the same year with the They're All Impression, which Arnold liked, and I said, "Wow, so happy for you. I hope you, deal with the media attention better than I did." And this generally happened. K. Trevor Wilson, we used to chat a lot, and yeah, all great for those guys. But yeah, I'm also not to make the same mistakes I did, which was mix cosplay with comedy, which isn't isn't
You
isn't
said you
bad,
just
but
did a show as Batman, didn't you?
yeah, I'm on there kind of grumpy. I'm not gonna
Don't do
lie,
it
and
unless the pay is right.
not even just that. It's just like, and they were a good crowd, but I went in thinking these guys are gonna get triggered and offended,
Mm,
which is entirely up to
yeah.
them. But
Yeah,
I'm just like,
we gotta stop with that mindset.
it's not a bad mindset. That doesn't mean
But
I went and
expecting
told
them to
each.
get triggered is like you're setting yourself
Here's
up
the thing.
for a
It's not
missing.
like I went. It's not like I went to the crowd and said "fuck you." I
Yeah,
didn't even do that in
yeah.
the act. I
Triggered,
went
like
in. I
you.
wrote my jokes, but it's okay. I think having it in the back of your head is not like it's not like
Sure,
you're
prepare
taking out
yourself.
on them.
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
But it's just like, what am I
yeah,
walking into? And comedy bar is also a little notorious for people getting offended. No knock to the comedy bar, that's how it goes. But I'm just like, man, what am I? And then I have to wear the suit. I don't know if I'm gonna pass out later. I don't know if I can do it like I used to. We're all in the green room, and I'm sure you've been there. So it's all tight, and I'm wearing this bulky costume. So, the bulkiest. I didn't sit down for like 40 minutes, and I'm just like, and I'm talking as
you're trying to
Batman, and
stay in the character. Yeah, yeah.
not just that, and I'm bumping left and right, and this girl was dressed as Rogue, and I kept on hitting her. I'm like, I'm gonna get in shit, and all that. And I didn't mean to. It's just like, man,
Yeah,
I
it's just
because I've
tight
had
space.
complaints. I've had complaints of me bumping into people in my bat suit and me getting in shit for it, and I'm just like, that is just crazy. But like, as much as you can, if they're going to complain, they're going to do it. And you're like, and I read a whole bunch of complaints about me on the internet. I mean, sometimes that's what I did during COVID. I saw some good stuff too, but
Don't
like,
do that, dude. Don't read
um,
any of the complaints.
yeah, but when you're predisposed and all you can do is lie in bed and maybe eat, I
I
was one
get
of the
you.
few on COVID to gain weight. So I ate a whole whack load of Christmas food, and then I would go to bed. And I couldn't really know how if I was done eating. I would go to the washroom, but I was just like it was a weird thing. So I lost some of it, thankfully. But like it's I don't know. I felt weird. And last night's show was great, and Mike Marstis was great. We came to a draw. Not that it was this big
Yeah.
competition, but I thought, okay, I'm going to do the voice and then read these lines that I wrote, and then we traded a few in messaging. But he did great. We hugged, and that was one of the better things that did with Toronto Batman as well. I thought, and the crowd was great, and they weren't triggered, and they weren't or over offended. I'm not gonna tell an audience member how to be or
Yeah.
anything like that. But I'm
I
just
think
like, man,
crowds are more open now because they haven't had entertainment or live entertainment in a while. So I feel like they'd be like less complaining. You know what I mean? I feel like they're just kind of grateful to be at a show in the first place.
I did feel that, and I felt that with Ben Mankis's park shows.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhat. There were some people
Mm-hmm.
vocal about their booing, like when Jason Rouse. I got a little bit of booze, but I'm like, ooh, and then yeah and no. I see that point for sure, and I definitely felt that, and I felt that too. Like I didn't do stand up in front of people for 4 or 5 months, and when I finally did, like I was nervous, but like man, I said I miss this so much, but like also we're in the advent of major commentary because Dave Chappelle's set and everybody uses that as the benchmark for how comedy is or isn't to them
Yeah.
supposed to be. So there's that. But I had conversations with some, and I think when they talk to me and I talk to them on my kind of level, but not be condescending, they kind of understand. Um, because like I told them the first time I've heard of punching up, punching down was with from an audience member. Now I don't know who started it, but why is an audience member telling me the rules of stand up? And like why I started thinking that they come up with it, like who did, and I conveyed that we're not marionettes. I feel that there's some people that think, well, let's control exactly what the stand-ups do. Because my suggestion is do stand up yourself and change the course of way stand-up is. You're like, and most of the times, like, no, I'm not a stand-up, and I get that point, but I'm just like, so what are we doing? Are we just waiting for them to do something, watching it forcefully, and then tell them what's wrong with it? Because ultimately, like, not watching Dave Chappelle is still an option, but they don't want to do that, and they watch it and get
Yeah.
mad, and it's
Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
weird thing.
It's an
If it
obsession
was
with like
Clockwork
getting mad
Orange,
at something.
it was
They
like
know
Clockwork
that
Orange.
they will find something in it to get mad at.
It's like Clockwork Orange, where your eyes are being peeled and you're forced to watch something. Okay, yeah, you were forced to watch it,
Sure.
full marks, but probably not happening. Probably not
Like
even
when
happening
you
to the guy from
two,
Clockwork Orange.
do you remember when you two just put their album on everyone's like iTunes library? How pissed off so many people got?
I just thought it was like a little weird. I didn't get pissed
It's
off.
so
Just
creepy.
like
You're like, what the
it
fuck?
is creepy, but like it's like it's like the Joe Rogan thing, and it's just like people like YouTube was the only one that they put on like our phones that I didn't. I think I listened to it for a second. And it was just like I thought the easy fix was don't listen to it, don't watch it. But
Yeah, just
I there's a slew of people that and then their rationale is that they're creating people to go and cause these um, crimes, which I don't know what's how that's happening. I mean, by now, I don't I just don't understand the thinking, and it's like so confusing for me. That's the other thing, and I try to create a dialogue with some people, not everybody.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I had dinner with a non-binary friend, and we chatted about it. And when it came to a middle ground, I thought they were going to tell me to fuck off, this and that, and check my privilege and blah blah blah. But it didn't really go that way. Just
It's
they
it's the
listened to them.
internet, dude. It's crazy. The effect that the internet has on like your preconceived notion of like what something is gonna like, whether it's a conversation or a type of person is gonna be like. It's like we've now built up all of these ideas from the extremes that we see on the internet. So we see someone like screaming about the Dave Chappelle like comedy special on Facebook. Then you see them in person, you're expecting that they're going to meet you with that same kind of energy. But in reality, maybe they were just having a moment that day, or they like tried to watch a bit of it and it pissed them off so much they had to get right online. But at the same time, maybe they like, were going through something brutal at that moment, and so their judgment wasn't there to determine that that wasn't the best post to just send out. Because now everybody thinks of you in that light. It's hard to shake
For,
that off.
for sure, but I also feel some of them are doing it to get on that train, and so people that
The
agree
hate
with
train.
them. Well, I don't know what it is, the hate train. I don't like it's just, some of it's stupid. Is just like, and this is a guy from Dave Chappelle's criticism before. I was like, he sounds like a white guy. I'm like, how? I'm like, there's a big difference between him and a white guy. I don't know if you know this, but he's not white.
Number one.
And it's just, but then it dies off, and then they go to something else, and then I mean, it's just I don't really engage in it. I try not to. The odd time I do, because I'm fucking, my brain's somewhere and I'm not thinking, and then I'm like, oh, that's so stupid. And then Twitter, I don't know why I respond. I should
So
just
many.
do
Oh my
jokes.
God, dude. There's so many arguments on Twitter. Like you can find an argument so fast. Just go to trending, click on a controversial topic, and just people arguing back and forth. Paragraphs,
For
eight
sure.
tweet threads. Like, it's insane.
But I don't. Uh, I guess my brain is like confused, and I forget. No, this is the internet, but I'm like, what are we doing next? What are we mad at now? And I don't. I mean, there's the odd time it's legitimate, and I spent Twitter. I would look up the COVID cases. Now I don't. Uh, now I don't. Mainly because I like a lot of the mainstream media will report the worst case scenario in terms of that,
Jesus
and I was
rated,
kind of
dude.
sick. So yeah, so I found some decent Twitter accounts for that, but then that turned into arguing and making it political. I and then it just goes off from there for me. I'm like, it wasn't the Dave Chappelle thing wasn't shocking, because they did it the last special. They found stuff to knock him at. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
until he does something they agree with, even though they forget he's pretty progressive. He's just sometimes doesn't frame it the way they want.
Well, because
Like I
jokes are being
was
considered hate
like
now.
a lot of his last special wasn't all jokes, even though there were, and people forget
It's
those.
he's
But
getting
I
into
didn't
this preach
take it
phase, yeah.
as hate. I mean, like, it's just like fuck. I don't know if I could do as many specials, if at all, and still be knocking them out of the park. That's a
Yeah,
huge expect.
that's hard.
I mean, one big reason why Eddie Murphy probably didn't do more than two specials is just like trying to live up to that expectation. That's crazy. We see that in music. We see that in and especially music. I was just looking up the history of Mazzy Star band, and they have one great commercial success album that Martha Stewart likes, and then the next one Martha Stewart doesn't like, and
Uh,
they get tossed aside and lived in Norway and all that. And and I don't know them too well or anything, but I can only imagine that they're like,
can
this
learn from that
pressure
lesson
is.
though.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, for me, is Toronto, man. But I, oh man, looking back, I was a little bit more anxious than I could have been. But maybe this is a type of life for me. Maybe Mazzy Star, that's the type of life. They got to do stuff they really wanted to.
Yeah.
Who knows? So, but like it goes back like Dave Chappelle, like not everything was going to be a banger, so it makes sense that you start to orate. But like that, I forgot that little special he did on George Floyd. I forgot the title of it. I think it was like 8:52 or something like that.
It was the
And
time that he had knelt on
it was the
the
time, yeah.
yeah.
And half of that was orating. So I don't. People were acting like they were shocked, like oh my god.
Yeah, I wasn't
But
expecting that to be like a comedy, like, oh, throw it. But I'm like, he realizes his influence, and he's like, I feel like I really want to speak on this, and he just did it. There's nothing different. There's no different in that. It was just higher production level, but like, I think
yeah,
people were used to seeing comedy specials. This just also again goes to what I was saying about people's perceived notions of what they see of you on the internet. If they only see Dave putting out comedy specials and people being offended at Dave, then when he releases another video, people will assume it's another comedy special, or something about someone
yeah,
complaining about him. But it
yeah.
wasn't. It was just this insightful piece where he just wanted to talk on an issue.
Yeah. No, I thought for that purpose it was great. I still haven't committed a hate crime since, so I'm not sure if I lived up to the expectations that
It
the
worked.
internet put out there. I just don't. I'm just confused what the people's rationale behind it. I'm not speaking on behalf of everybody, but I think that and Joe Rogan and a whole lot reminds me of the Mortal Kombat uh, argument and people placing blame and not wanting to take accountability or letting kids take accountability in some regards. I don't know, or parents, I would say, and then blaming it on something and all that. I'm just astonished, but maybe I shouldn't be.
Yeah, well,
Um,
it's a good
I
transition into society, which is what
it
you.
is society.
Yeah, I thought we dropped that
It's
because that
a
is the
very
title.
it is the title society, and it's funny because Joaquin Phoenix is Joker gets that. It was like we live in a society, and then they had Jared Leto's Joker say it in Zack Snyder's Justice League. So in some ways, I guess I am the Joker. Um, and yeah, I mean, in that regards, and I just I'm confused by society, and I know I only live here, and I can't speak on behalf of everywhere else. And I don't like to say you're a white straight male, but there's some context to it. I understand. I'm only that. I can't live through other people's experiences, and that's also how
It
people
is important
perceive
for
me when they
things
perceive
like
me.
your driver's license and your.
I don't. Is my white? Is there, I don't know if it says
I don't
white
think it's
straight
any
male
of
in there.
them. Imagine it said that
I
on your
think
driver's
I think
license.
you could
White
change
straight
your
male,
gender and all
Ian.
that. Yeah, and what's and now I have my trucker's license, and we're the scum of the earth right now. I don't. Thank God I was in Facebook jail for a month because I would have lost it at some
you
points.
you'd have been
Uh,
sharing so many freedom convoy posts.
no, I don't. I said to someone dear to me after the last lockdown, if you're not expecting an uprisal, you're crazy. We can't be having this many lockdowns, and some of
And
it
people
doesn't
are
make
just
any
okay with it.
sense.
Yeah.
It's not like there's no one forming a good decision, and we're all like Toronto has a lot of. I'm like Montreal, from what I remember, they had some riots. They were put on a curfew, so that was a little bit more worse than us. And we had a longer lockdown though, but they were put on riots, and then no one was kind of explaining why we were, especially last summer when they took a bit to open up. And we go back and forth with what's safe, what's essential, and what's not. I'm just like, we talked about, it's better to ignore the internet, not engage, but some of the shit, A, goes beyond the internet, right? But B, it's just like, okay, how much can we just nod and smile and just take it? And
Yeah, we're only nice for so long.
it's not even nice. It's just like, there's
You know what
like
I mean?
some
Like
of this
willing
doesn't
to
add
just
up.
be like, yeah, sure. Like, oh, it's like work together. We've got that. Like Canadians are like notorious for that kind
We're
of
in this together.
community.
We're in
We're
this
in this
together.
together. Yeah.
Well, definitely Canadians are not united in this front because you see Alberta,
No. Yeah.
and they were open for gosh knows how. I can't look at countries or places that are fully open. I can't do it too much. But that being said, the one thing Ontario and I noticed people on the Twitterverse were doing was comparing always ourselves. And I heard this of politicians, what other countries are doing. We never looked at ourselves, and I'm just like, why are we trying to model off of everything? The first one was New Zealand, and anytime you brought up an island, someone would go, "You're an idiot." I'm just like, "No, it's an actual island, and it's a different scenario. Why don't we look at Sweden? No, 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 fuck that." And then when we look for it, no, fuck that. I'm like, okay, um, and I dare say, one of the casualties. There's 6 people I know that committed suicide since March 2020, and I
Mhm.
know I have a different reach than other people, but I knew some of these people, some closer than others, and it started to rip apart at me. And it was like, I'm not the strongest guy in the world emotionally and mentally. I don't know who is. I'm not the same guy anymore from March 2020. I changed a lot, and it,
I think a lot of people
losing a
did. Yeah.
job. A lot. I don't claim to be an island. I don't
No, no,
claim
no. I'm
to,
not saying that at all. But I'm
you
saying
know,
that just goes to show you
yeah.
that like, because a lot of the times I think when we experience like a hardship, we would think that we're isolated in that scenario, and I think we need to take more of like a we're in this together approach. You know, like a lot of us
I
have changed since March 2020, mentally, emotionally, physically.
the problem I saw with that was the people that benefited from the lockdown, and I'm not saying there was no benefit. The benefit that I go for is that it healed the environment for a little bit,
Mm,
like dealt with the fucking
that
smog.
was
Like you
cool
could
to see.
actually that was cool to see, even though my brain was in a fog. But looking back, I kind of agreed with the first lockdown because I kind of understood now. I lost kind of relationship that I just started. My fitness levels obviously uh, went down. Stand up went away. My job at the Rogers Center and the rickshaw went away, and I didn't know who the fuck I was after a bit. And the problem is a lot of people that seamlessly fit in, which still bewilders me. Like they got to work from home, they enjoyed all that, they're posting everything they're doing that they're enjoying. I'm like, how the fuck are you guys treating this so like laissez-faire? I didn't understand. And then there's a part of me that wonder if the world was working against me. And then when the suicide started to happen, one like the first one I kind of understood because he was a part of he led the Occupy movement, and Derek Sebral, but he did it in such a drastic way. Uh, but I kind of reconciled with that because unfortunately, there was nothing anybody was able to do, and just that flipping that switch from normal life to lockdown. But then it started to get weird, and then Robert Bonilla all of a sudden, like he's out, like fell out of his apartment. What the fuck? And like he was always this happy-go-lucky guy, and always good. And then it just snowballed from there, and I had a hard time with it. Well, just what's today? Well, everyone's enjoying the lockdown. That is, I was like, I'm not fucking
Yeah,
enjoying
social media
this.
makes that hard, man. Yeah, I get that.
But it just developed to other people. It was just like, and
I
then
don't know
people,
if
the
it
way
was
people
so
talk.
much. I think it's just like you got to remember too, like social media is everyone's highlight reel. So I think like a lot of people are like maybe posting these like things that they're doing during this time to reassure themselves that they are okay. But I don't mentally, I mean, like maybe on the surface everything looks okay, but who knows what the fuck is happening in that person's brain, you know?
But it started to get like weirder and weirder. Like people posting like all these articles, the pause of what to do during lockdown, like having fun, like it's just like I'm like this isn't normal. And
Yeah.
like it's really hard for me to think, and not just because of the people I lost and all that, and the jobs and fucking everything else. I just my mind went fuzzy. I took up Uber Eats. I didn't take a job officer because I wanted to do something active and somewhat interact with people. to be outside and all that, even though it felt like Silent fucking Hill half the time, like when it was
Yeah,
deserted and
just
shit like
streets
that.
are empty. Yeah.
I was just like, this isn't, it's hard to like to think about, but I just that was my thing, and yeah, it could be just a highlight reel, could be all that, but then to see some people
I get
still
what you're
call
saying though, but
lockdown,
normalizing it is the problem.
nor and it just happened so fast. All of a sudden, people are using acronyms, WHF, FH, sorry, work from home. I was like, what are you talking about?
Never seen
Like it was like
that.
it was just, and it was like tripping me the fuck out. And the gym's closed, the LCBO's open, the McDonald's open. I'm like, what? And
Yeah. You can
then
get weed, but you can't like go work
yeah,
out.
it just like a couple of years ago, smoking weed legal, hanging with friends, fucking pro, and then it switches around, and it's like people acting like that's a huge 180. And
It's
I'm just like,
huge.
we're gonna look back at this and like, that's fucking crazy. And I just felt, uh, on dating apps after the relationship fizzled because I was no longer attractive being mentally ill at home. Um, to put it nicely, that still bothers me in some level, and I'm trying to work it out creatively. But I was just like, there were like normalized video date. I remember, yeah, Hinge on their Twitter. They did a tweet. It's like normalized video date. The clapping emoji, and I put normalized being insane. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? I'm just like, I'm like, this is too far. I'm like, I'm just gonna watch a porn. It will deliver a better like result. I'm like, video dating. I'm just like, I realize you're a brand and you have to make like, but people on board and then writing articles like, so I wanted a video date, and I was like, it's not a date. You just had a chat. That's it. You can't
Yeah, you
you
video
can't make a
called me.
baby.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
yeah.
it was just like, and I remember being asked to before that with the girl was saying, jerk off on camera. And I'm like, it was a hard bridge for me to cross. I'm not gonna say her name or any of that. I'm not an asshole. I hope we can talk, but like the thing that sucked about that was I was this kind of hunk at the time, sort of 2020. I was deadlifting 310. I was doing shows every night. I had all these plans for a great 2020. No word of a lie. I mean, my room didn't even have dressers at the time, and I finally got dressers that year. And I overcame two deaths that became and started the beginning of that year. And I cleaned my house top to bottom. I shared with three other dudes. So I literally was planning for this career. New Year, you knew me exactly. And then for it to come crashing down was just like I just couldn't overcome it. And yeah, jerking off on camera didn't make me happy. Um, I mean, I did it.
You should leave it
I
on
just
OnlyFans. I did it, he says.
I didn't finish. I just like
I
it's
didn't
just
finish.
weird. Yeah, I didn't. And she's listening out there. What's funny is I listened to a podcast she did talking about sex, and I was waiting. I'm like, and
Is my story
your
ready to drop?
ears are burning. Any of that. No, and I'm gonna say this now. Probably had the best sex I ever had. So every shit was kind of clicking for me, and for it to fall like that was a huge downfall. And not everything was like I was doing stand up every night. I went to Ottawa back and forth one night, and like shit like that. I think towards the end of February to the beginning of lockdown, I was doing stand up every night. So I was a little bit burnt out, but like I was okay with that burnout. It was just like
Because
I
it
was
was
doing things
work.
like God kills and die.
Yeah, yeah.
I felt I was on a rise. I felt like there's something there. I can work with yucks. I mean, but realistic. I'm like I'm at my funniest. Coincidentally, I think I'm at my funniest now. But like all that good shit. The girl did Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Like she could whoop ass. I don't have to whoop ass. Like all that good stuff. And then it come crossing down, and then it burns something in my brain because at the end of the day, it's like those people that know they committed suicide, and that relationship fizzing out, whatever it was between us, was more or less lockdown played a great part of it. So it's like hard to what do I learn from this? What I do? I'm like, well, how that was out of my hands. Could
Yeah.
I have been better? It can always be better. But like a lot of that was like due to the lockdown and not due
Yeah,
to
it's
like,
releasing that like that kind of blaming yourself for everything. Like literally can't have full control over everything. All you have control over is your energy and your creativity and like what else you
of
can,
course.
put out there. But
But I felt
even that can get limited by if there's a lockdown, how much can you actually do?
that the lockdown kind of should spat me out. And like I wonder what if 2020 was is as planned. I tell people I wish the lockdown started
It's your origin
when
story.
2000. If it is, I don't know. It's just like it. It's just it's one of those things. It's just like, what am I a monster? Do I belong in this world? Is this a new world that I don't fit in and all that? Like, I grew a beard. Wasn't the first time I grew one, but like I don't even look the same, and all that shit. I ate everything more than usual, and in those 2 years. So that happened. I took Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and Muay Thai a bit. I've done martial arts since I like teens over 20s. I bought a car. I got my trucker's license. I
Oh
have a
yeah, man.
scar on my fucking shoulder from my lipoma, which is a fatty tissue tumor. I got hit by a car doing Uber Eats twice. Um, I'm kind of made a short film.
Tip your
It's a
Uber Eats
lot.
people.
I fucking that I there was a part me doing that job also. It's like if I'm gonna die doing this, it might as well happen. I don't want to die lying in bed. I know it's morbid to talk about, but
Yeah.
life and death became a lot of people. They didn't. I felt that people that committed suicide during the mental health were pushed aside as collateral damage. All we care about is COVID. That's it. It did feel like that, and everything else gets pushed aside,
Hmm.
and that still bothers me to this day. Um, and the reason why I use cloud damage is because a girl told me is just like, this is the strong will eat the weak. And I'm just like, at least I appreciate her honesty. We haven't spoken since. But I was just like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, is this how all society thinks? Because, it's that was the main thing. And I at the same time, something happened in my brain where I haven't really gotten angry as much. Um, I'm a little bit more chill, even when stuff like when I got hacked. I know I messaged you, but I didn't go off the rails. I didn't threaten anybody, and that was
Yeah.
generally the attitude I had. I thought it was kind of shitty, but like and stressful. I didn't want to get all those messages. Um, some people told me off because they thought it was real me, and that kind of bothered me. Because I'm like, I just made a silly error. It wasn't
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
like a lot of people would have. I'm like, I wouldn't do anything on purpose. I'm like, I don't need this
It
shit.
was an accident. Yeah. You think I'm going through this right now? I need
It
your shit
was,
on top of it.
it was just
Oh
like
my
on top of
god.
everything. Like Uber Eats is one of the funniest moments was it was the beginning of the lockdown. And I was going to
You.
McDonald's.
I don't want to. I'm going to continue with this story, but I don't want to make you late for your show. Are you still good for time?
What time is it?
It's
7?
7:08 right now.
Yeah, I'll get going in a minute.
Okay.
Like so, I'll wrap it. This is a funny story. So, I'm in my winter gear. I think it's the end of March. I'm still not sure what's going on, and uh, I don't know if he's homeless or drunk or something. Blocked the exitway. Me leaving the Ossington and Bloor McDonald's, getting his gear. The McDonald's people shut the door and give it there like on your own. And he's calling me, faggot. And this. I'm like, just give me the McDonald's. And I'm like, oh, for McDonald's, you need that? I'm just like, so a guy kind of wrestled him, and he was around my bike, and I thought about using the lock I had in my hand, but I'm like, I can't do this. So I punch him, and then I got on my bike and go deliver McDonald's. Still have it. So I delivered to the people that I looked down, and it's destroyed. That was the first
Oh
time I
no.
actually licked the McDonald's. And I'm like, by the way, as like this happened, I punched the guy for it. It's like, yeah, yeah. And then so who do we complain to? I'm just like, oh my God. And then, when people talk about privilege and all that entitlement, that would be unless someone purposely ate it during that time, the reasons for downvoting is absolute shit. One I got downvoted was the girl I used to date, her Brazilian jiu-jitsu class. were in front of me. The girl wasn't there, but I heard her saying her name that she's coming. And so I put on my mask, which helped me, but I'm wearing a tank top, and not too many people have a Batman logo tattoo on their arm. So I'm just like, I waited for them to get to sit there literally right in front of me. I'm like, my God. And then I go get the food and I take my lock key and I go to one bike and I thought it was mine, but I'm so, agitated and I get
Flustered.
mine.
Yeah.
And then I got downvoted for arriving too late. And I wanted to text them like, you're not going to believe this. But I just don't like stalking people, and it looked pretty suspicious. So
Yeah, it looked weird.
like you can't, like, I
It's
know I
hard
was
to
doing my
explain.
job, but I was just like, what the fuck, like,
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
and shit like that. The first time I got hit by a car, I had the food, and they called me. It's like, sorry, you're a little bit late, and I'm just like, yeah, your sushi is gonna arrive with a little bit of ketchup, and then they were cool about it, and they saw the blood. Every time something, my seat popped up.
Oh my
I always
God.
had the seat with me in my bag and stuff like that, and you see people's eyes, and sometimes I get a bigger tip because of that. It wasn't the first time I fell and bled, and I put on a glove and just fucking carry it on. I felt like if I'm gonna die doing this, at least I could finish the fucking delivery.
You're a noble
And
man, dude.
I try to be. Three, that first time with the punch, there was like three times I was accosted for with having my Uber Eats bag, and I got around it and stuff like that, and like it was also that's why pro lockdown kind of disgusted me because a lot of those people went to stuff like Trinity Bellwoods and like they're trying to fight off the cops and count. I'm like, some of those people are accountants because your pro lockdown ways put them there. Not everybody, but because I was evicted and when the terror lifted that, I was up to date with my friend, but like, new landlords
Jeez.
wanted their space. So I'm just like, if they don't like the, I'm coming around to not hating society from it. And that's why I'm motivated to do these skits and doing better at stand up, returning a little bit of a Toronto Batman because maybe my purpose in life is to have empathy and make people laugh in society. It's a little tough,
You need your unique voice,
so
man. Yeah.
it
And
is, and I
you gotta go
I
follow him on Instagram, Mr. Alex
thank
Brovo.
thank you. I always loved Johnny, as I love most people I've come across. I've been nothing but a lucky guy in some regards. I think dealt some unlucky hands, but also like I'm not perfect. There's stuff I can learn from and stuff like that. And it's been a lot of fun. So, I thank you for allowing me on this
Of
podcast.
course, man. Thanks for coming on. I
Um,
appreciate you making the
Not a
time
problem
before
at
your
all.
show. Yeah,
Yeah,
like I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
said, go follow Alex on everything. Thank you again, man, for coming on. I really appreciate it. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, 5-star review, share the episode with your friend. That always helps. But for now, I've been your host, Johnny Rogers. Until next time, stay classy.
Buonanotte.
You've been listening to The Johnny Rogers Show. New episodes air every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.